We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello students, myself Dr. Rupali V. Goel, working as Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department, SVIT Vasa. Today I am going to discuss with you a topic that is included as a part of curriculum of GTU 6th semester Civil Engineering for the subject of Water and Wastewater Engineering, having subject code 2160604. The name of the topic is sewer appurtenances. Now you are knowing sewerage system. So sewerage system is nothing but it is the collection system that is collecting wastewater from your home, right from your lateral to submain to main to outfall sewer, that is discharging wastewater to wastewater treatment plant. So all the system that is generally used for the collection and conveyance of wastewater from your home to wastewater treatment plant is called as sewerage system. So this sewerage system, it is consisting of pipelines, but apart from that major pipelines, some accessories are also required, and that is what which is meant by sewer appurtenances. So we will discuss in detail that sewer appurtenances. So basically sewer appurtenances are those structures of sewerage system which are constructed at suitable interval and other locations along a sewer line. So basically it will assist in efficient operation and maintenance of the system. Without that the operation and maintenance would be very difficult, and it is essential to maintain the sewerage system efficient, otherwise silt, ashes, grit, oils, etc. may choke the sewer line. So for proper maintenance of your particular sewerage, so here these are the different types of sewer appurtenances which are widely used in sewerage system. First is inlet gullies or stormwater inlets. Next is catch basins. Third is cleanouts. Next is manholes. Then drop manholes, lamp holes, flushing tanks, grease and oil traps, inverted siphon, and storm regulators. By using all these sewer appurtenances, the effective maintenance and cleaning of particular sewerage network can be done. So here we will start with our first unit, that is called as inlets. So basically inlet is a device that is meant to admit the stormwater or surface wash and convey it to the stormwater sewer or combined sewer. So here in this you can see this jali or grating kind of structure, that is nothing but it is called as inlet. So whenever there is a rainwater, that will all flow towards this particular inlet, and that will be collected and it will go towards your stormwater drain. So basically it is depressed or flush with respect to elevation of the pavement surface. So roadside drain you might be knowing, so its position may be vertical or it may be in horizontal position. So maximum spacing of 30 meter is generally recommended on the straight road, but it may vary according to the conditions such as road surface size and type of inlet and rainfall intensity. So on roadside you might have seen such kind of grating, that is nothing but just simple inlet, and these inlets are very useful in collection of storm water. So this is types of storm inlet. So as I discussed that its position may be horizontal, vertical or combination type. So when its position is vertical, so here this is the vertical position, so water will come from this side. So these vertical openings in the road curb through which storm water flow enters and it will transfer to storm water drain, then it is called as vertical inlet or curb inlet, and they are generally preferred when there is a heavy traffic. Otherwise if it is horizontal, then all the traffic will move from that, and if it is not strong, then there are chances of accidents are always there. So generally very heavy traffic is there, such kind of vertical inlet may be provided. Next is gutter inlet or horizontal inlet. So here the horizontal openings that are provided in the road and that is used for the collection of storm water. It is called as storm inlet or horizontal inlet. Now in certain cases both the combinations, that is horizontal as well as vertical positions, both gratings are provided and that are useful for the collection of storm water. So generally the gutter inlet is normally placed right in the front of curb inlet. So all these position, horizontal, vertical and combination, these are the different types of storm inlet. So here in this typical diagram, if you want to draw in your exam, so you can show this types of road, and this is your main sewer pipeline. So here these are all inlets, and here this is your vertical inlet. So as I already explained you, this is vertically it is collecting water, and here this horizontal grating is provided, and water will be collected from vertical. Here in vertical inlet, water can be collected from the horizontal path. Now here all these different inlets that are shown in particular figure. So here this is combination inlet having horizontal as well as vertical inlet. So now next unit, that is your particular catch basins. So catch basins are special types of inlet. So it's a kind of inlet only, but which is a basin which is provided with the additional facility, and that additional facility, it allows the grit, sand and debris etc. flowing in the storm water to settle down. So here you can see that here some time period is provided, so that all these debris and suspended solids which are settleable in nature, that will be settled down, and water may be collected from some higher elevation. So if you are providing outlet at lower elevation, then all these debris etc. will also move along with that. But here this outlet is provided at higher elevation, so this debris etc. that is collected at the bottom, it will not come up in your outlet water. So the outlet is usually trapped to prevent the escape of odor, because if you are not providing a trap, then there are chances that some foul gases may enter and that will pollute. And also the settled matter is taken out periodically. So cleaning is very essential, because all these debris that are collected at the bottom, that is to be collected. So basically catch basins are what? That are nothing but inlet with the facility of settleable solid. This is typical diagram of catch basins. So here in the first figure you can see that this is the hood kind of structure, and this is the trap. Here you can see in the second one. So here baffles are provided. So here at the top cover with gratings. So this is nothing but it's a horizontal inlet and provided with outlet which is at higher elevation. So here at the bottom sand and grit etc. is collected, and that is to be cleaned at certain periodical interval. Now next is clean outs. Now here, as the name suggests, it is used for the cleaning purpose. So here generally clean out is provided at inclined pipe with one end which is connected with the underground sewer. So here in this it is shown it is connected with the lateral sewer, and this is your clean out pipe. So they are meant for cleaning out the lateral sewer, and for cleaning purposes the cover is taken out and the water is forced into the clean out pipe. So whenever you want to clean, initially it is closed, and when you want to clean this lateral sewer, you have to open this particular cover and you have to flush it with the water. For large obstacles, flexible rod may be inserted. So you can insert your flexible rod and you can clean this sewer, and with the forward and backward movement of all the obstacles that are there, that has to be removed. So clean out, as the name suggests, it is used for cleaning purpose. Next is manhole. This is very important as far as exam is concerned. So basically it's a masonry or RCC structure which is constructed at suitable interval along the sewer for providing access to them. Here the name of manhole is provided from that man can enter inside, because basically for the maintenance purpose, if certain sewer pipelines, generally it is provided at every bends, junctions of two sewer, main sewer is meeting with branch sewer, then there is also elevation difference, also there is a change of diameter, change of gradient, then every junction such kind of sewers are such kind of manholes are provided. So for straight sewer line, manholes are provided at regular interval depending upon the diameter of the sewer. The sewer line between the two manholes is laid straight with even gradient. So generally even gradient is provided. So basically what is the purpose of this sewer? Inspection, testing, cleaning and removal of obstruction from the sewer line. So they also help in joining sewer line or in changing the contribution of sewage from sewers of various sizes and coming from various directions. So basically all the junctions generally such kind of sewers are provided, sewer manholes are provided. So generally the spacing of manhole is recommended as per IS 1742/1960. So for sewer up to 0.3 meter diameter or sewer which cannot be entered for cleaning or inspection, the maximum spacing between the manhole is recommended as 30 meter, and 300 meter spacing for pipe greater than 2 meter diameter. Spacing allowance of 100 meter for 1 meter diameter of sewer is generally chosen as per for very large sewer as per our CPHEOO manual. And the internal dimensions required for the manholes are provided in table. So I will discuss this table. The minimum width of the manhole should not be less than internal diameter of the sewer pipe plus 150 mm benching on both the sides. So here these are the spacing of manhole, and small sewer 45 meter spacing, 0.9 to 1.5 it is 90 to 150 meter, 1.5 to 2 meter it is 150 to 200 meter spacing, greater than 2 meter the spacing is 300 meter. And the minimum internal dimensions for manhole chambers that depends upon its internal dimensions and depth of sewers are depth of sewers. So 0.9 meter or less depth, then internal dimension may be 0.9 to 0.8 meter. For depth between 0.9 to 2.5 it is 1.2 by 0.9 or 1.2 meter diameter. For circular sewer with the depth above 2.5 meter and up to 9 meter, the circular chamber of 1.5 meter diameter. And the for depth above 9 meter and up to 14 meter, the circular chamber that is having diameter of 1.8 meter, internal dimensions are to be provided for efficient cleaning purpose and maintenance purpose. So here there are 3 ways in which we can classify our manholes. So that all depends upon its depth. So basically there are 3 types. One is shallow manhole. So shallow manhole depth is less, that is 0.7 to 0.9 meter. So generally constructed at the start of the branch sewer or at the place not subjected to heavy traffic condition, and it is generally provided with light cover, and its top is called as the inspection chamber. Next is normal manhole. So normal manhole, it is having depth 1.5 meter. So dimension are 1 by 1 meter square or rectangular with 1.2 to 0.9 meter dimension. So it is to be provided with the heavy cover, and its top is to be supported as per the traffic condition. So heavy traffic and heavy cover is to be provided. Deep manhole, as depth is more than 1.5 meter, and the section of such manhole is not uniform because depth is excessive and you cannot provide the continuous depth throughout. So in the deep manhole the section would be different than the normal manhole. The size in the upper portion is reduced by providing an offset, and steps are to be provided to reach up to the bottom of the manhole, and generally it is provided with very heavy cover at the top to support the heavy. So here in this diagram all the different components of this particular manhole that is shown. So these are the components of typical manhole. So this is the entry point. Here grating is provided, or cover, manhole cover is provided, and here you can see this is the offset is provided. So initially up to certain depth it is having less dimension, but afterwards as this is called as the working chamber in which man has to work, and for that bigger dimensions are provided. So first one is access staff. So here from where man will enter inside, that is called as access staff. Then next is working chamber. So as I told you, this is the actual working chamber in which the worker has to work. So here proper height is to be provided, minimum 1.5 meter. Next is bottom or invert. So basically here you can see this particular sewer, this bottom part, it is generally called as invert. Next is side wall. So basically this side wall that are provided with the thickness of 10 plus 4 D, that is the uh, depth of the sewer. Next is steps or ladders. So these are the steps or ladders that are to be provided for access of the member who is coming inside the manhole. Then top cover. So here this top cover, heavy duty top cover is to be provided. So here when two sewers are meeting inside, here proper support is to be provided on both the side, and which is nothing but it's a cement concrete, and that is called as benching portion. So this way you can show a typical. Now next is drop manhole. Now here this drop manhole is a special type of manhole on a sewer line which is constructed to provide a connection between a high level sewer and low level sewer. So generally high level branch sewer and low level main sewer. So here in this figure you just try to understand, this is your main sewer and this is your branch sewer, but this particular depth or particular height from which this branch sewer is supplying water is large. So generally this depth, it is greater than 0.6 meter, then you cannot directly apply this water to fall here, because it will affect this benching portion, and that will damage this benching portion, because this height is too much. So whenever this height difference between the branch sewer and the main sewer, it exceeds 0.6 meter, then you have to go for a certain different pipeline here, and that is here you can provide vertical pipe, then this horizontal pipe, and from here, from this depth, the water will be discharged. So here there is no chances of damage. So the drop manhole is required in the same sewer line in a sloping ground when drop is more than 0.6 meter, and sometimes this particular inspection arm is provided, and that is with plugging. So this direct access that can be utilized at the time of some inspection or at the time of some maintenance work also. So this kind of drop manhole, it avoids the possibility of sewage being thrown on the persons entering the working chamber. So this plug is to be provided, and instead of that, if you are providing the inclined pipe like this here at this position only, then it is called as ramp. Now next is lamp hole. As the name suggests, you have to lower lamp. So here lamp holes are special openings which are constructed to join a hole in the sewer and the ground. So this is your sewer, and this is the hole that is to be made, and the lamp hole may consist of vertical concrete or stoneware pipe, and generally it will provide like a T structure. So basically a manhole cover is provided at the top to take the heavy traffic and provided at change in the direction. Similarly, when manholes are not possible to construct, generally they are provided. So at each and every change in direction, gradient, and the construction of manhole is difficult, or the between the two manholes its spacing is large, so in between you can provide such certain lamp hole. So purpose is same, it is for the inspection purpose, it can be utilized for the flushing purpose in emergency also. This fresh air water inlet, it will serve like that, and nowadays this kind of lamp holes that has become optional. Next is automatic flushing tank. Generally this automatic flushing tank, these are the device to hold the water and throw it into the sewer. So for the cleaning purpose you can say. So generally required for the sewer laid on flat gradient or at dead end. So whenever dead end is there, it is very difficult to clean. So at that point you have to provide such kind of automatic flushing tank. So basically there are two types of automatic flushing tank, and that is hand operated and automatic. So here the automatic flushing tank use the principle of siphonic action. So here I will show you what is the meaning of siphonic action. So here initially, so this sniff hole is provided here, and this is the sewer line which is to be cleaned. So we want to force water from this automatic flushing tank. So as we are supplying water So suppose initially there is no water here, so this sniff hole, it is connected with this bell and this U-tube kind of thing, and initially this is your water level. Now as you are filling this automatic flushing tank, this air is replaced by water, so that will push water in this particular U-tube, and that will maintain its level at y1 y2, and due to this particular water is forced in upward direction, and that is allowed to force in this particular sewer line. So automatically it reaches to certain head, this siphonic action that will allow water to move from here to upward direction and then into the sewer, and automatically it will flush your sewer pipeline action. Now next is grease and oil trap. So here grease and oil traps are specially built chambers on the sewers to exclude the oil and grease, as the name suggests, from the sewage before they enter the sewer pipeline. So generally these traps are located at such places where there are chances of oil and grease are more, like automobile repair workshop, then garages, hotel, oil and grease industries. So why we want to remove this oil and grease? Because of the following reasons: because it will stick to interior surface of the sewer and increase the possibility of explosion. So whenever such oil and grease are there, it will stick inside, and that is resulting in the explosion. If some impurities are there, some gaseous impurities, floating matter will stick to the sides of the sewer. So all this oil and grease that will stick to that impurities, and difficulty in the treatment of sewage, and also it prevents the entry of oxygen, so that will result in anaerobic condition. So how will this work? So here you can see the situation, this arrangement is similar to your inlet. So here from the inlet grating the water is coming. So here hood kind of thing is there. So here you can see that this water is coming not from the top, but it is from the bottom. So all the floating material, the principle is that all the floating material will float above, and this oil and grease, they are having less specific gravity, they will float on the top surface, and it will not enter in this particular. So from first particular chamber, the next it will move to next chamber. So here in the next chamber again such kind of food is provided, and again the remaining oil and grease that will float on the second chamber, and ultimately at both the stages this oil and grease will be trapped, and that will be cleaned at periodical interval, and we are avoiding this oil and grease in the subsequent. And next is inverted siphon. So basically inverted siphon they are used when the sewer line dips below the hydraulic gradient line. So basically suppose this is the height and up to which this is the normal hydraulic gradient, but now it has to take some deeper gradient, and it has to again rejoin by taking the upward gradient to this normal line. So the purpose is to carry the sewer line under the obstruction. So suppose certain obstruction, some river is there, some roadway is there, some railway is there, you cannot take this sewer line at the same level like in a straight line or with the slope that is gentle slope. So you have to overcome this particular obstruction. So you have to take your pipeline through this obstruction, again horizontal and again in the upward direction, and then it will meet to your normal pipeline. So it should be constructed only when other options are not feasible. So generally in the design consideration, it should be very simple in construction. Change in direction should be gradual, because you can see that here there is a manhole, then it is taking in downward gradient, then flat gradient, then upward gradient, then again it is meeting. So generally it should have 3 pipes for 3 different conditions. These 3 conditions are minimum flow, average flow and maximum flow. So if you are providing only one pipe, then it is difficult to operate. So for all the 3 flows, 3 different pipes are to be provided, and generally the total length is considered as straight length. So this straight length plus band length on both the side, and this provided with the screen before the inlet, because in the inlet if you don't provide the screen, then always there are chances of silting at the bottom, because again it has to go in upper direction. So if proper velocity is not maintained, then silting will be a problem. So also it should be provided with the bypass arrangement, and design of inlet and outlet should be properly done for cleaning and maintenance purpose, because otherwise maximum silting would take place at the bottom of inverted siphon. So here you can see in this typical inverted siphon figure, 3 pipes are provided, P1, P2 and P3. So here first manhole, second manhole, and this is your obstruction that you have to you have to take beneath this pipeline. So P1, P2 and P3 that will work in different condition: average, minimum and maximum flow condition. So disadvantage is that it gets silted if not properly designed. If design is not proper, always there are chances of silting in the horizontal position. Side connections are not possible because it is surrounded by the obstruction, so you cannot provide side connection. If not anchored properly, then it may float when empty. Whenever it is empty, it will float. So these are some of the disadvantage of inverted siphon. So if it exceeds its capacity, then we have to provide this storm water drain and to regulate its flow. So here you can see that this particular section it is having this much capacity. So automatically if some storm water is exceeding, it will automatically overflow and it will meet to nearby particular water course. So this is called as the single acting overflow weir. So there are 3 types: overflow weir, so that will just overflow. Next is lipping weir. Next is siphon spillway, and the overflow weir may be single acting or double acting. So this is the figure of single acting, from because it is overflowing from one direction only. Now here this is the diagram of double acting overflow weir. So here you can see it is a half circle kind of thing. So from both ways it will overflow in 2 different directions. So that's why it is called as double acting overflow weir. Next is lipping weir or jumping weir. So lipping weir or jumping weir is a special device by which excess wastewater is allowed to escape to a water course. So here in this figure it is provided with the adjustable plate. So by adjusting this plate you can control the flow of water in this particular sanitary sewer, and excess water will flow to nearby river or stream. While the design flow is permitted to flow into the intercepting sewer. So this intercepting sewer, it is having some definite capacity only. Up to that we are allowing, then we will adjust with the help of this lipping weir or this adjustable plate. Next is siphon spillway. So here also it is similar to lipping weir, but it is cost effective and consume less area as compared to lipping weir. So here there is a use of siphonic action that we have seen in this operation of the automatic flushing tank. So here this is your combined sewer that is having some definite volume. So here up to this it is having capacity. So if it is excess in capacity and some overflow is there, then in that case the water will go inside, and that will meet to your siphonic action, and it will overflow to the overflow channel. So it can handle only water depth up to this level. As the level increases, this will automatically go in air pipe, replacing the air with water, and this at crest point the siphonic action will be developed, and this automatically it will flush out to overflow channel. So I have discussed all the different types of sewer appurtenances, which are very important part of water and wastewater engineering and sewerage network, and that are widely asked in examination. And I hope that whatever content I have shared today, that will be very useful to you in your examination. Thank you very much, all the students.